Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we're taking a look at the live versions of the battle mission from Street Woman Fighter Season 2. So I do know that there are multiple facets to how the criteria works. We have a Section A, a Section B, and a Section C, each with different requirements, and so for this, we're going to be taking a look at each crew's individual sections. I'm pretty pumped about it. It's going to be great. I've already analyzed A and C from all crews, gave my thoughts there. If you're curious, I'll tag them below in the corresponding sections of these videos. Definitely intrigued at some of the results I've already been hearing about, but I'll get into that whenever I get into the analysis. Let's go ahead and get started.
레이디바운스.
그룹 같은 경우에는 너무 자신 있어요.
What did they pick up?
뭐야?
Oh, that's right. They're picking up the bread and the jam. The jam on the bread. I loved it when I saw it the first time.
재밌어. 너무 좋아. 와, 진짜 센스가. Oh, jam.
That was so fun. And they ate it! They put it in their mouths and they ate it! I know that was from a section in the crew preview.
이거 안 보잖아요. 맞아.
Yeah, right there. Yep. Yeah. So
난 진짜 환장해.
love that. Le이디바운스, I really don't think could have done these sets any better. Like, you just see the energy. You see how they're executing it. It is phenomenal. They did not come to play. I know they were viewed as a lower tier crew, and they definitely, out of all the challenges, this one has made them shine the most, I think. Yeah. That was strong. I did see the build-up of the Le이디바운스 banner. If that was more of a surprise, I think that could have read, oh, you know, but whenever you're watching from the back, it would be hard.
It's game time.
They got the tutus. Yeah.
아, 맞네.
The energy that they're bringing here really helps with a lot of their set. All were able to do it. Those would be instances where like somebody may miss during a live versus with the camera, so it's really good that they all hit that. Yeah, one of them touched the clip. Yeah! And we're not used to seeing Latrice do that either. That was a nice free she did. Yeah, I think that's what I said too when I saw that. It's crazy how both of them did that. I love that. Freaking wild, guys. Goodness. Okay, from the top. We can't discredit Leadibaunce's just wild dissery that they brought here. They brought bread on stage with jam on it. The commitment. It's the commitment for me. And I love that they even had to circle it. So everyone's like, look what they have. It's jam. With the jam. I love it. It's fun. So fun. I love it. Ah, jam. Yeah. And this right here, and I think that's what seals it for me, is the fact that they didn't just hold it, they put it in their mouths. You know, I love it. And then they go into this, just their choices that they did were very, very distinguishable on what they were dissing. That right there, very clear, vibing from the crew previews. And I think it helps because they were vibing in a similar formation. And that's little things like that can really help your audience, as well as your judges and your opponent, know what you're trying to hit. Nice with a little mix of a tone wop there. They go and they drop the bread there. It was nice, the energy. They're keeping the energy up throughout the whole thing. That beginning, they set it in a great place and they're elevating it, regardless if they have 3 people represented, all 5, or 2. And that's really impressive. You know, because sometimes you have people, when they have, okay, it's only 2 people on stage and we just saw 5 pop off and now we only see 2, the energy's kind of wavering. I don't feel that way at all about this, which is what makes it so respectable and so incredible to watch. It really, really, that just the energy of how they're hitting that is amazing. That right there, it's the first time I heard that. That part of it came from how she was holding her mouth. And it was really cool to see that. I love the fact that they have their backpacks here. Yeah. This right here, it looks like the boxing ring, right? Because of the double straps, but how they pulled it on is stuff like that. That and the kip ups from Jam. It's little things like that that make me very impressed at the choices that they make, of the fact of, oh, that's really cool. I love the choice they made. But what's nice about it is they are able to do it in front of the camera and they can do it live, right? So, and that's the important thing, is that we don't see as many mistakes happening, you know what I mean? And that's honestly, that's what makes me really happy, is that so far up until this point, we've seen minor mistakes of that from both sets of crews that I have seen, because I have not seen Mana Queen or 1 Mil yet at this point. And that's what I think, like, having each crew compete at their best is, I think, the most ideal circumstance, because if your crew loses or wins, it's more respectable, right? In comparison to, okay, this crew had an obvious disadvantage, so they lost, that's why. Or, oh, they won, they were against all odds. Like, it's just, I feel like we're really at this caliber where it's the best going up against their best. And I love it. I freaking love this, guys. This is so enjoyable, you know. I know they didn't even get to see that from the front, but it's just mad cool. Mad cool. And that's another thing I gotta remind all of us, is the fact is, we get to see ideal angles of all of these things. The judges don't. The audience surely don't. And the crew also doesn't get to see all the ideal angles, because sometimes it's framed towards the judges, sometimes it's framed towards the outside of the audience, sometimes it's framed towards the crew. It's little things like that that can really add up. How she dropped down in that pie to a back roll was great. And I love that they're circulating around and hyping up the whole crowd. That could have really helped them for their score. Yeah. How they finish this is so strong with the L. Yeah. I will say there, you do notice that I think that's Capri, right? She's really going ham there when everybody else is taking a more subtle approach. That could, you know, that could affect the cleanliness score of just that little section there, right? How they're holding it down is really nice, and I'm saying it again. Of course, we saw them kind of hold their banner, getting ready to hold it up. And they're holding it down with the reverb. Super fun. Really love that. Is Biggie chewing gum? I think is what I just saw. I'm shocked she didn't choke on her gum. Yeah. Very clean. There. Just the energy that they bring here is so much bigger. You see Kirsten's popping off. I did say this, a similar thing about Bada from Bebe. Some people can take adrenaline and they allow it to kind of infiltrate in a negative way, like downcast, over tensing of the body, marking choreography, making choices you wouldn't normally make, maybe mirroring or completely flipping choreography, all of this stuff. I have dancers that do all of it. And then I also have dancers that kind of do something more like what Kirsten does. They really pop off, explosion of performance, power, and energy, but they know how to do it in a way that is not overtaking the technique or overtaking the choreography that is given. And that's a really big risk if you think about it that Kirsten has to combat, is because how she holds her energy sometimes can be different than how the rest of her crew does, which honestly is very strategic of the fact that she's centered here. I know because she's the leader, but when she does have those tendencies, because notice she added an extra kind of reverberation of her upper body. Right here was great. Oh, hold on, when was it? It was right here. Right here. When she hit around, she had this extra reverb that was happening that nobody else really had there. But it's not a bad thing. I actually loved her choice, and I love the fact she was central because it's more forgiving. And how she drops it. The energy is so different here than what we saw in the global viewing. You see, energy is so fun. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So the only thing, like if you're like a live audience watching, it could be a situation where, you know, I mentioned most of my points about audience perspective and judge perspective in the first section of the judging and all of that with the live, but I will point out here that what they're doing to a lot of their choices of being present and making more not even chill options, and they're not really like simple, but it's more in unison, right? So they're making some more unison choices, which we saw Wolflo do a lot as well, but the energy and how they're doing it is so big and so full. I would say full is a more appropriate word, and all of them are holding their own so well, and it makes it really enjoyable. Matches the music really well, matches the set really well too, and also too, and a lot of people are so used to a certain crew's perspective on a track, because remember, this is Ladybounce's track they're combating against, right? It's, you know, Ladybounce did a really great job choreographically on the track, so a different perspective being brought is great. But also you run the risk of, if people prefer the Ladybounce perspective, they may be like, this one didn't quite hit that level of caliber we were looking for. I think that's a preference thing. I think they did a really good job here because they're clean. And how they did the kip up, that's kind of stuff would be very easy mistakes to take place. Somebody not fully coming up, hitting their butt, and of course we'd have that camera zoom in right there whenever that would happen, and that could factor into the flow of the group, but we didn't have that. The energy is there the whole time. Yeah, that was really nice. Just to build up all of this is just as strong as it was before. That right there, that freeze, gorgeous. It's a stall. There you go. Yeah. And how they bleed over, the timing of that's really good. From here, they just showed, for me, just to have enough balls to just walk, because you're like, we know who we are. We know we just killed all 3 rounds of this for ourselves, and we're gonna sit here and we're gonna walk because we know how to maintain performance, quality, essence, and attention and captivation from walking back and forth. Because it's not just to walk. You have to think about how they're all choosing to walk, because it's not just a walk. It's a walk with a certain presence, essence, and posture involved, and all of them are on the same page. And that is how you want to operate as a crew, and that's what Ladybounce also brought today too. Hence what makes this so awesome as a competition here. That whole situation going back, boom, bring it back. I love the reverse of the hinge. The tension, the texture was so nice. I love how they finished like this for loser. And also I know Ladybounce did that too. I love it because it just tailors so well. It tailors so well to what we've already seen. Straight wild, guys. And I love how they finished the outside and Audrey's like, hi. That was awesome. Yeah, so, I mean, I know I do know kind of the results of this, and I haven't really read comments of these videos or anything. I've just been watching them and just, you know, going off of what people have already said in my personal comments with just before I got to watch these. So, does it make sense how the voting took place? Yes. Because I've already kind of mentioned all the different factors that we'd have to consider. Are they bad? I mean, that's just what you get when you get things that I can't tell you if it's bad or good, you know, because I feel like that's just the wrong question to ask. It's did the crews bring what they needed to bring to demonstrate their crew in the best perspective for this challenge? The answer is yes. So for me, I feel like the crews that are going to make it to finals, I pray, are the crews that make it to finals. And the crews that need to fight for their lives, do so. You know, I do think it's unfortunate that we don't have an opportunity with one of the crews. They don't even get a shot at fighting through the eliminations. They just get eliminated outright, you know, but I'm hopeful that we're able to see the crews that have been consistent throughout the show are to be rewarded by spots in the finals, regardless of how this particular, you know, how this finishes up. Do you know what I mean? But also, that's an ideal world. I'm not in control of this. I am one person out of millions, right, that have been a facet of voting in the show. I do think that Ladybounce, really, out of all sections, I really think that Ladybounce, if they were to take a section for me as a judge, if I were to judge, I think it would have been that section because of the amount of dissing that they did and the creative ways that they chose to do it were very nice and very tasteful, and they were very full in energy and aggressive in energy. What Jam brought to the table was very strong, and it would have been a super, super close call out of anything in my perspective, which just shows you the caliber of what both crews brought for this battle. Do I think that Jam was expecting such a tough battle like to combat? You know, I don't think so, because remember, they picked Ladybounce and they were, you know, I think they were hoping that they were gonna have an easy win, and I don't think this was an easy win for them, and I don't know if they actually won, but I do think that there were certain things that Jam brought that no other crew can bring, and I really hope that they were rewarded for that, you know, because I think that is something that we can't just neglect and negate. But also on the other side, just because a crew can bring a style that no other crew can bring, you still have to look at the style that they're bringing and go, of course, factor in the rarity of the authenticity presented on this type of platform, but look at the difficulty, the syncopation, the musicality, the authenticity, of course, the posture, the layering, the levels. You have to itemize it like you itemize the other crews, but because it would be unfair if you just said, oh, they're doing a different style, we're gonna give them credit for it, and oh, we've already seen the style, so we're gonna break it apart. That's not fair to either crew, right? You have to be able to adjudicate both sides, if as a judge, to be able to properly understand, okay, they brought something different, they can get points for that, but also they brought certain syncopations that were very difficult to execute with two people. You know, you have to kind of approach it like that. And so that's kind of how I was going about watching these when I analyzed them the first time. And I really like seeing the energy of the live audience here as well. I really think that this was so tasteful and wonderful. And I think we got to see both crews represented as authentically and at their best. And I love that so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I was helpful in some way. I know with these particular reactions, I am focusing more on other aspects outside of just the content. I am comparing the analytical version of what I watched with the camera only versus the live and how things have changed. And I know a lot of you have done the same. And honestly, I feel like with some of my votes, it kind of is up in the air because of different factors and different aspects outside of just the content we're watching. But I'm really thankful for the fact that I'm able to do these, be able to discuss alongside you guys, and be able to interact with everybody in the community, both on YouTube and on Patreon. It is all so humbling for me of the fact that I'm in a position where I can actually contribute anything helpful for others who enjoy the show just like myself. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.